Today we will take a detailed look at the main capital ship of Rebel Alliance, MC-80 Liberty-type Heavy Star Cruiser. Fasten your seatbelts and subscribe for more Star Wars content. Nordy is here, and it's time to get started. The MC-80 Liberty-class cruiser was originally conceived as a civilian transport ship, designed with the intentions of long-range exploration, or as a luxurious pleasure craft for wealthy travelers. Its design featured a sleek, organic silhouette, which made the ship stand out among other vessels in its class. Built with an emphasis on durability, elegance, and comfort, the Liberty-class cruisers were intended to cater to the needs of high-end space travelers, offering a refined atmosphere for long-term journeys through the stars. These ships were meticulously handcrafted, with each vessel having a unique design tailored to its original civilian purpose, offering an air of exclusivity and luxury. The Liberty-class cruisers were built to withstand extended space travel, equipped with enough consumables to support a crew for up to 2 years. The ship's length and mass were considerable, rivaling the formidable Imperial II-class star destroyers in terms of size. Yet they were constructed with a focus on comfort rather than military combat. This made the cruisers well-suited for long voyages, whether for exploration or leisure, and their interior featured a series of opulent amenities designed for ease of travel. Despite their civilian origins, the Mon Calamari, who designed the ships, anticipated the potential for these vessels to be repurposed for military purposes. Subtle military features were incorporated into the original design, allowing for easy conversion to combat-ready warships when needed. During the conversion process, the Mon Calamari engineers made significant modifications, including draining the water-filled passages meant for Mon Calamari swimming and replacing them with floors and proper ventilation systems. Thousands of viewports were plated over to ensure the ships could withstand the rigors of space battles, and the interior was reconfigured for military operations. The cruiser's control stations, holographic displays, and battle graphics were specifically designed to accommodate the Mon Calamari's unique visual spectrum. These controls required specific body movements that were not easily replicated by other species, making the Liberty class particularly suited to Mon Calamari crews. The adaptability of these vessels, however, did pose challenges for non-Mon Calamari personnel, who might struggle to operate the ship with the same ease. The interior of the Liberty-class cruisers retained its luxurious design, reflecting its origins as a civilian vessel. The ship featured pale, aquatic-themed designs, with a maze of passageways and rooms that were both functional and aesthetically pleasing. Key areas of the ship included a communications center, storage rooms, security rooms, and airlocks, all designed with utility and comfort in mind. The ships were also equipped with long-range sensors for reconnaissance missions, and in their civilian form, they featured escape pods to ensure the safety of passengers and crew during emergencies. While the Liberty-class cruisers proved to be powerful and versatile assets for the Rebel Alliance, they also presented unique logistical challenges. Each ship was a one-of-a-kind vessel, with little standardization in terms of components, which made maintenance and repairs difficult. This lack of uniformity became a concern for the Alliance to restore the Republic, which had to take extra precautions when deploying these ships into combat. Balancing the power and versatility of the Liberty class with the complexities of keeping them in operational condition required careful planning and foresight. The cruiser's versatility extended to their hangar bays. Each MC-80 Liberty-class ship was equipped with a ventral hangar bay, and some models also featured an additional portside hangar, each with its own dedicated hangar door. These features provided flexible means for starfighter deployment, allowing the ships to support a wide range of missions, from combat operations in space to planetary operations. The inclusion of multiple hangars made the Liberty-class cruisers well-suited for transporting and deploying fighters, shuttles, and landing craft, further enhancing their utility as both exploratory and military vessels. In conclusion, the MC-80 Liberty-class cruisers were a testament to the ingenuity of the Mon Calamari, combining luxury and comfort with the capacity for conversion into formidable warships. Their unique design, diverse capabilities, and adaptability made them a central part of the Rebel fleet, though their one-of-a-kind nature also required careful consideration in how they were deployed in combat situations. These ships highlighted the Alliance's ability to adapt civilian technology for military purposes, playing a critical role in the fight against the Galactic Empire. The MC-80 Liberty-class cruiser was a modified passenger liner that became one of the first dedicated warships of the Rebel Alliance, following the initial successes of the MC-80 Home One. It was designed to be a more compact, versatile warship compared to the larger MC-75 and MC-80A cruisers, providing the Rebel fleet with another crucial asset in its fight against the Empire. Though it was smaller and less heavily armed than Imperial ships like the Imperial-class Star Destroyers, the MC-80 Liberty-class had a number of unique attributes that made it effective in combat, particularly its advanced shielding systems and impressive durability. The MC-80 Liberty-class was equipped with a substantial array of offensive weaponry, including a combination of heavy turbo-laser batteries, ion cannons, and tractor beam projectors. The primary weapons on the Liberty-class were its heavy turbo-laser batteries, numbering 48 in total. These turbolasers were distributed around the ship in 4 groups: 12 fore, 12 port, 12 starboard, and 12 aft, ensuring that the Liberty-class had near-total coverage in battle. The turbolasers were designed for a balance of range and firepower, allowing the MC-80 Liberty-class to engage both capital ships and smaller starfighters effectively. Though not as powerful as those on the larger Imperial Star Destroyers, the Liberty-class's turbolasers could still inflict significant damage to enemy vessels, particularly when used in concentrated salvos. In addition to the turbolasers, the Liberty-class was equipped with SW-7 heavy ion cannon batteries, which numbered 20 in total. These ion cannons were capable of disabling the systems of enemy ships without destroying them, making the Liberty-class a valuable asset for capturing Imperial vessels or crippling larger opponents without annihilating them entirely. The ion cannon batteries were similarly distributed around the ship, with 5 fore, 5 port, 5 starboard, and 5 aft, allowing the cruiser to engage enemy targets from virtually any angle. These ion cannons, like the turbolasers, were equipped with advanced targeting systems, enabling them to track and destroy enemy starfighters, or smaller craft with relative ease. The MC-80 Liberty-class also had a unique feature in the form of cluster bombs, which were employed during battle as an additional offensive tool. Though their use was somewhat rare compared to the more traditional weaponry, the cluster bombs provided the ship with an additional layer of offense, particularly useful against enemy ground forces or massed squadrons of starfighters. Finally, the Liberty-class carried heavy tractor beam projectors, 6 in total, which served as a means of controlling enemy vessels in close quarters. The tractor beams could disable enemy ships by either holding them in place or pulling them toward the Liberty-class. This capability was invaluable during engagements where the Rebel fleet needed to prevent Imperial ships from escaping or retreating, as well as during the deployment of Rebel ground forces or boarding actions. The MC-80 Liberty-class was equipped with advanced shielding systems, which provided superior protection against the overwhelming firepower of Imperial Star Destroyers and other enemy capital ships. The ship featured both main and backup shield generators, ensuring that it could maintain a high level of protection even if one of the generators were disabled. These shields were designed not only to resist conventional energy-based weapons, but also to offer protection from spatial elemental threats, which made them ideal for the varied environments in which the Rebel fleet often fought, such as asteroid fields or the outer reaches of space. The shielding on the MC-80 Liberty-class was one of its key advantages over many Imperial designs. While the Imperial-class Star Destroyer could unleash devastating turbolaser barrages, the Liberty-class was able to absorb a significant amount of damage before its shields began to fail, allowing it to remain operational in combat for extended periods. This durability allowed the Liberty-class to engage in sustained battle against larger, better-armed opponents, without quickly being overwhelmed. Its shields were comparable in performance to those found on some of the Empire's larger vessels, making the Liberty-class a valuable asset to the Rebel Alliance. Additionally, the Liberty-class was equipped with thick armor around its most vulnerable areas, such as its engines, command center, and hangar bays. While this armor did not rival the heavy plating found on the Imperial-class Star Destroyer, it was sufficient to ensure that the MC-80 Liberty-class could withstand a certain degree of damage during combat. The combination of its shielding and hull armor made the Liberty-class a tough opponent for Imperial ships, able to take more punishment than its size and class would suggest. One of the most distinctive features of the MC-80 Liberty-class was its wing-shaped structures, which extended from the sides of the main hull. These structures were filled with a variety of weapons systems, including turbo lasers, deflector shield projectors, and tractor beam projectors, and served as a key design element of the ship's overall offensive and defensive capabilities. The unique placement of these weapons allowed the Liberty class to deploy concentrated fire on enemy targets from the wings, while minimizing the number of attacks hitting the vulnerable central hull. This design also allowed for better targeting of fast-moving targets, such as starfighters or bombers, ensuring the ship could defend itself effectively in all directions. The MC-80 Liberty class was also equipped with a primary sensor array located on the ventral side of the ship. This sensor array was crucial for the Liberty class's ability to detect and engage targets at long range, providing the crew with advanced warning of incoming threats. On ships that lacked the characteristic wing structures, the sensor array was replaced by a second thruster, helping to balance the ship's power output. This sensor system helped the Liberty class maintain situational awareness during combat, ensuring that it could react to enemy movements and adjust its tactics accordingly. The MC-80 Liberty-class cruiser was one of the first warships that the Rebel Alliance could rely on in large-scale battles against the Empire. While it lacked the sheer firepower of the Imperial Star Destroyer, it more than made up for this with its advanced shielding, durable armor, and highly effective weaponry. Its heavy focus on turbo lasers, ion cannons, and tractor beams allowed it to engage in sustained combat against much larger ships, while its advanced sensors and shielding provided it with the protection and situational awareness needed to endure in battle. The MC-80 Liberty class was a crucial element of the Rebel fleet, particularly in the early years of the Galactic Civil War, and its legacy can be seen in the later designs of more advanced ships in the Rebel and New Republic fleets. The MC-80 Liberty-class cruisers were equipped with 9 advanced M8.0 Stardrive engines, an engineering marvel that gave them a commendable level of mobility and speed, crucial for their roles within the Rebel fleet. These engines were designed to balance power and efficiency, allowing the cruiser to achieve speeds of up to 60 MGLT, megalight per hour. MGLT was a standard measurement of velocity used across the galaxy to describe the speed of starships. And while not in the realm of the faster starfighters, the MC-80's propulsion system was still more than sufficient for most of its strategic objectives. In addition to their spacefaring capabilities, the MC-80 Liberty-class cruisers were also capable of reaching speeds of 975 km per hour in atmospheric conditions. This made them versatile enough to operate within the gravitational pull of planets, allowing them to maneuver for planetary strike missions or evading enemy fire in a planet's atmosphere when needed. Although the MC-80 Liberty class wasn't as fast or as agile as specialized starfighters, it made up for its moderate speed with its adaptability to various combat scenarios. It could execute long-range engagements with enemy vessels, or provide support for Rebel ground operations, where speed wasn't always the defining factor. Within the vast expanse of space, the cruiser's engines provided ample mobility, enabling it to enter combat zones quickly, disengage when necessary, or avoid direct confrontations with larger, more heavily armed Imperial ships. When it came to faster-than-light travel, the MC-80 Liberty-class cruisers were outfitted with a Class 1 primary hyperdrive, widely regarded as one of the fastest and most efficient hyperdrive systems of the era. This primary system provided reliable, rapid transit across vast stretches of space, ensuring the cruiser could travel long distances swiftly, thus enhancing the Rebel fleet's capacity for rapid deployment and strategic flexibility. The Class 1 hyperdrive was an integral part of the cruiser's operational capabilities, enabling the Rebel Alliance to launch surprise attacks or retreat to safer locations when required. In addition to the primary hyperdrive, the MC-80 Liberty class was equipped with a Class 9 backup hyperdrive. While this secondary system was slower, it provided crucial redundancy, ensuring the vessel could continue its mission even if the primary system suffered damage or failure. The Class 9 backup system offered a safety net, increasing the cruiser's endurance and mission survivability in a galaxy constantly in conflict. The combination of the 9 M8.0 Stardrive engines and the dual hyperdrive systems provided the MC-80 Liberty class with a blend of speed, reliability, and versatility that was critical to its success. It was not the fastest or the most heavily armed ship in the galaxy, but its engineering allowed it to execute a wide range of missions with efficiency. Whether engaging Imperial forces in space battles, providing support for planetary operations, or executing covert missions, the MC-80 Liberty-class cruisers proved to be invaluable assets for the Rebel Alliance. Their engines and propulsion systems played an essential role in outmaneuvering larger Imperial vessels, ensuring the success of critical operations in the ongoing fight against the Galactic Empire. The MC-80 Liberty-class cruiser featured a unique and strategic bridge design, with its bridge tower positioned towards the stern of the vessel, slightly recessed into the main hull. This configuration stood in stark contrast to the more exposed bridge designs commonly seen on Imperial Star Destroyers, providing the MC-80 with a more streamlined, protected profile. The placement of the bridge at the rear of the ship allowed for a functional and efficient layout, with an emphasis on operational effectiveness, prioritizing the needs of the crew during prolonged engagements. Directly behind the bridge, integrated into the hull, was the ship's primary reactor, which supplied the necessary power for the cruiser's advanced systems, including its engines, weapons, and communication systems. The close proximity of the reactor to the bridge allowed the command crew to closely monitor and manage power distribution throughout the vessel. This proximity ensured a quick response to any power fluctuations or operational issues, enabling the ship to remain fully functional even during long and intense combat situations. This design was crucial for maintaining the MC-80's readiness during extended fleet operations, where consistent power supply and operational oversight were paramount. The bridge crew of the MC-80 Liberty class was primarily composed of Mon Calamari, the species responsible for the ship's design and construction. The Mon Calamari were specifically trained to operate the cruiser's sophisticated systems, with crew members familiar with the vessel's unique controls and interfaces. The bridge's display screens and control panels were designed with the Mon Calamari's vision in mind, allowing them to interpret essential data with ease. This attention to the crew's physiological needs ensured that the Mon Calamari officers could manage the vessel's functions with precision, contributing to the MC-80's efficiency in combat. While the command crew was predominantly Mon Calamari, the rest of the MC-80's crew was drawn from a diverse array of species within the Rebel Alliance. Humans, Celestins, Quarren, and other members of the Alliance were integrated into the vessel's various departments, particularly after the cruiser underwent refitting to accommodate a broader range of personnel. This diversity of crew members brought unique skills and perspectives, allowing the ship to operate seamlessly in various situations and strengthening the unity of the Rebel fleet. Together, this multicultural crew worked in harmony, making the MC-80 Liberty class a symbol of the Rebel Alliance's resourcefulness and determination in the fight against the Empire. The MC-80 Liberty-class cruisers were equipped with a well-rounded and versatile hangar complement, designed to support a broad array of missions and ensure the vessel's readiness in various combat situations. These cruisers typically carried 3 full squadrons of starfighters, each selected for their complementary capabilities, which gave the MC-80 a robust offensive and defensive presence in battle. The starfighter wing usually consisted of 1 squadron of X-wing starfighters, known throughout the galaxy for their exceptional agility and firepower. The X-wings were particularly adept at engaging enemy starfighters in dogfights and conducting bombing runs against enemy capital ships or fortifications. Their versatility made them a reliable choice for any tactical scenario, and they formed the backbone of the MC-80's fighter complement. Alongside the X-wings, the ship would typically carry a squadron of Y-wing bombers, formidable warships in their own right. These bombers were designed for heavy assault missions, equipped with powerful torpedoes capable of targeting larger vessels or enemy ground structures. The Y-wings were a vital asset for the Rebel fleet, capable of inflicting significant damage in coordinated strikes against Imperial ships or defenses. In addition to these attack-oriented craft, the MC-80's starfighter complement also included a squadron of A-wing interceptors. These fighters were smaller, faster, and more agile than the X-wings, making them ideal for intercepting enemy bombers or engaging hostile starfighters attempting to close in on the cruiser. Their speed and maneuverability allowed them to defend the cruiser from incoming threats with impressive efficiency, helping to secure the MC-80's perimeter during combat. At the Battle of Endor, the Home one of the most notable MC-80 cruisers, may have also carried a squadron of B-wing starfighters. The B-wings, with their distinctive asymmetrical design and heavy firepower, were capable of delivering devastating blows to enemy capital ships. Their inclusion further bolstered the cruiser's heavy assault capabilities, enabling the MC-80 to contribute to large-scale space battles with even greater effectiveness. Beyond its starfighter complement, the MC-80 Liberty-class cruiser also featured various support craft to ensure it could handle a range of tactical and logistical needs. The vessel carried several shuttles and landing craft, which were crucial for troop deployment and planetary operations. These craft allowed the cruiser to transport rebel personnel, supplies, and equipment to the surface of planets, supporting ground operations and facilitating the delivery of reinforcements or evacuation of personnel. Additionally, the cruiser was equipped with a pair of stock light freighters, essential for transportation and logistical purposes. These freighters helped ensure that the MC-80 had a continuous flow of necessary supplies, ammunition, and other vital resources during extended missions in deep space. Though the MC-80 did carry a selection of ground vehicles, they were less emphasized compared to other ships built for direct ground warfare. These vehicles were generally used for specific planetary missions, where they could be deployed to assist in establishing or reinforcing rebel control on the ground. The overall hangar space of the MC-80 Liberty-class cruiser was designed to be a versatile platform, allowing the ship to perform a wide range of operations. Whether engaging in space combat, providing air support for ground troops, or executing logistical and transport missions, the MC-80's hangar complement ensured that the cruiser remained adaptable and prepared for the varied challenges it would face as part of the rebel fleet. This combination of starfighters, support craft, and logistical resources made the MC-80 Liberty class an invaluable asset in the fight against the Galactic Empire. The MC-80 Liberty-class cruisers were typically crewed by a total of 5,402 personnel, composed of officers, enlisted crew members, and pilots who managed the ship's operations and participated in its missions. The standard crew complement included 668 officers and 4,734 enlisted personnel, all tasked with a wide range of responsibilities, from maintaining the cruiser's advanced systems to managing day-to-day operations and executing military strategies. As with many of the Rebel Alliance's vessels, the MC-80 was primarily staffed by Mon Calamari, the species responsible for designing and constructing the ship. These Mon Calamari crew members were essential in operating the cruiser's complex systems, given their intimate understanding of the vessel's design and functionality. Their technical expertise and military leadership were critical to ensuring the MC-80's success in battle. In keeping with the inclusive nature of the Rebel Alliance, the MC-80 Liberty class also featured a diverse crew, reflecting the unity of different species who rallied together to fight against the Empire. While Mon Calamari personnel made up the core of the crew, the cruiser also accommodated humans, Sulistans, Quarren, and other species, particularly following refits and modifications that allowed for greater integration of various races. This multicultural crew brought a wide array of skills, perspectives, and expertise to the cruiser, enhancing its ability to perform complex missions and adapt to the changing needs of the Alliance. One of the key components of the MC-80 Liberty class was its considerable starfighter complement, which was typically overseen by a wing commander. This officer was responsible for managing the operations of the cruiser's fighter wing, ensuring the successful coordination of fighter deployment, combat operations, and logistical support. The wing commander would report directly to both the ship's captain and the fleet's fighter command, ensuring that the cruiser's operations in space were seamlessly integrated into the broader tactical objectives of the Rebel fleet. The wing commander's leadership was crucial to maintaining the cruiser's effectiveness during space battles and skirmishes with Imperial forces, managing both the offensive and defensive capabilities of the starfighter wing. In addition to its crew and starfighters, the MC-80 Liberty-class cruisers were designed to carry a full complement of up to 1,200 troops, though this could vary depending on the mission. These troops were typically deployed for planetary assaults, defensive operations, or strategic objectives requiring ground combat support. The MC-80's ability to carry and deploy such a significant number of soldiers made it an essential asset for the Rebel Alliance in its campaign against the Galactic Empire, providing crucial ground support during key operations and ensuring that the Alliance could maintain its presence on critical worlds. The combination of a diverse crew, specialized officers, and the cruiser's versatile design embodied the spirit of the Rebel Alliance: unity, resourcefulness, and determination. The MC-80 Liberty-class cruisers served as both a symbol and a tool of the Alliance's fight for galactic freedom, where each crew member, regardless of species, played an important role in achieving victory over the Empire. With their diverse talents and commitment to the cause, the crew of the MC-80 Liberty class ensured the cruiser's place as one of the most crucial vessels in the Rebel fleet. The MC-80 Liberty-class cruiser, also referred to as the MC-80 Liberty Cruiser or Liberty-type Heavy Star Cruiser, was a class of heavy cruiser with an average length of 1,200 meters. Some individual ships in the class were even larger, reaching up to 1,500 meters or approximately 3,937 feet. These vessels were built by the Mon Calamari shipyards, which specialized in designing and constructing ships for the Rebel Alliance during the Galactic Civil War. The MC-80 Liberty class was part of the broader MC-80 Star Cruiser line, which included several variants. The MC-80A Home 1 type Heavy Star Cruiser, a more heavily armed and larger version, was one of the notable subtypes. The Liberty-class cruisers were manufactured at Mon Calamari shipyards with a cost of approximately 104 million credits per ship. In addition to the Liberty class, there were other similar Mon Calamari Star Cruisers, which featured almost identical designs but lacked the characteristic port and starboard wings found on the Liberty Cruiser, making them visually distinct but functionally comparable. These ships were crucial to the Rebel Alliance's fleet and played pivotal roles in several key battles during the Rebellion's fight against the Galactic Empire. The MC-80 Liberty-class cruiser, also known as the MC-80 Liberty Cruiser or Liberty-type Heavy Star Cruiser, was a class of heavy cruiser designed and constructed by the Mon Calamari shipyards for the Rebel Alliance. With an average length of 1,200 meters, the MC-80 was a formidable presence in space. Some individual ships within the class were even larger, reaching up to 1,500 meters, approximately 3,937 feet, making them a powerful asset in the Rebel fleet. These vessels were designed for versatility and strength, balancing firepower with the ability to carry significant crew and starfighter complements, making them essential for the Alliance's operations during the Galactic Civil War. As part of the broader MC-80 Star Cruiser line, the Liberty class was a key member of a family of ships built to support the Rebel Alliance's war effort. The MC-80 line included several variants, with the MC-80A Home 1 type Heavy Star Cruiser being one of the most notable. The Home 1 subtype was a larger and more heavily armed version of the Liberty class, optimized for command and extended combat operations. This particular variant was the flagship of Admiral Akbar during the Battle of Endor, playing a central role in the final victory over the Empire. The MC-80 Liberty-class cruisers were manufactured at the Mon Calamari shipyards, a facility known for its skilled work in constructing ships tailored for the needs of the Rebel fleet. These cruisers were priced at approximately 104 million credits per ship, reflecting their advanced design and the resources required for their construction. The cruiser's design was a blend of practicality and ingenuity, utilizing the unique capabilities of the Mon Calamari engineers, who had extensive knowledge of aquatic vessels and adapted that expertise to starship construction. In addition to the Liberty class, the Mon Calamari shipyards produced other similar star cruisers, which featured almost identical designs but lacked the characteristic port and starboard wings that gave the Liberty cruiser its distinctive appearance. While these ships were visually distinct, their functionality was comparable to the Liberty class, and they played similar roles within the Rebel fleet. These ships, though not as iconic as the Liberty class, still provided valuable firepower, support, and transport capabilities for the Rebel forces, contributing significantly to the success of the rebellion. The MC-80 Liberty-class cruisers, along with their sister ships, were crucial to the Rebel Alliance's fleet, playing pivotal roles in several key battles throughout the Galactic Civil War. Their combination of strong offensive capabilities, adaptability, and the leadership of their diverse crews made them invaluable assets in the fight against the Galactic Empire. And their participation in battles such as the Battle of Endor helped tip the scales in favor of the rebellion. The MC-80 Liberty-type heavy Star Cruisers were initially civilian Mon Calamari vessels, designed as luxury cruise liners and long-range exploration ships. However, as tensions grew and the Galactic Civil War escalated, the Mon Cala Planetary Defense Services repurposed these cruisers for military use. They became key components in the local defense of the Mon Calamari system and its surrounding colonies. Despite their origins as civilian vessels, the MC-80 Liberty-type cruisers were quickly adapted to support the Rebel Alliance, playing a crucial role in early Rebel victories against the Galactic Empire. Their unique designs, originally meant for peaceful purposes, were refitted with military-grade armament and shields to become part of the Alliance's fleet, where they gained prominence for their versatility and effectiveness in combat. Before the official formation of the Rebel Alliance in 2 BBY, the Mon Calamari Star Cruisers were originally designed as luxury liners and long-range exploration vessels by the Mon Calamari people. These ships were not built for combat, but their advanced design and durable hulls made them suitable for modification into military vessels. In response to the growing threat of the Galactic Empire, particularly after the fall of Mon Cala, the Mon Calamari people were forced to repurpose their civilian cruisers for war. Talaris Rebel Star Docks, a critical base for the Alliance, became the site for these crucial modifications. The MC-80A Home 1 type heavy Star Cruisers and the MC-75 Star Cruiser Profundity were two notable vessels that underwent retrofitting here. These ships were stripped of non-essential civilian components and fitted with military-grade armaments, advanced shields, and enhanced hyperdrive systems to ensure their combat readiness. The MC-75 Profundity was one of the first major vessels to be retrofitted. Originally a luxury liner, it was converted into a formidable flagship for the Alliance fleet. The MC-80A cruisers, such as the Home 1, were similarly modified to become heavy warships with the ability to stand up to Imperial firepower. Despite their civilian origins, these ships became the cornerstones of the Rebel fleet's offensive capabilities. The Home 1 cruiser, for instance, would go on to serve as the flagship during the Battle of Endor in 4 ABY, where it played a pivotal role in the destruction of the second Death Star and the defeat of the Imperial fleet. These vessels, once peaceful ships of exploration, transformed into key instruments of resistance against the Empire. Following the destruction of Alderaan in 0 BBY, the MC-80 Liberty-type heavy Star Cruiser Aurora was one of the pivotal vessels in the Rebel Alliance Navy, acting as the flagship under the command of Admiral Jial Akbar. This event marked a turning point for the Alliance, as they now had to shift their focus to fighting the Empire on multiple fronts, in part by using their remaining fleet assets to fend off Imperial retaliation and protect critical allies. The fleet that Akbar commanded consisted of various ships, including 8 EF-76 Nebulan B escort frigates, which were smaller and more maneuverable than capital ships, providing support in the battle against larger Imperial vessels. The fleet also featured 8 CR-90 corvettes, versatile ships that could engage enemy forces at close and medium ranges, and 5 GR-75 medium transports, used to carry essential supplies and evacuate refugees in hostile situations. With a focus on superior firepower and maneuverability, the fleet also deployed a full complement of starfighter squadrons, including numerous T-65B X-wing starfighters for dogfights and bombing runs, BTL-A4 Y-wing assault starfighter/bombers for heavy assault, and UT-60D U-wing starfighter/support craft, which were used to transport troops and provide critical support in ground engagements. The fleet's primary mission was to respond to a distress signal from an Alderaanian refugee convoy that had become trapped at the Foster Haven trading port, a strategically important location. The convoy's distress call was received as the Aurora and its supporting fleet were operating in nearby space, and the fleet immediately mobilized to assist. However, upon their arrival, Echo Squadron, a group of skilled rebel pilots, quickly became embroiled in a fierce battle against the Imperial forces led by Commodore Ray Sloan, a ruthless officer of the Imperial Navy. Echo Squadron, though highly trained, found themselves outmatched and outnumbered, forcing Admiral Akbar to request reinforcements. The Imperial fleet, likely made up of Star Destroyers and TIE fighter squadrons, was determined to wipe out the rebels and prevent them from rescuing the convoy. Despite these efforts, the rebels' combined fleet, including the formidable firepower of the Aurora and its complement of warships, pressed on with the engagement, highlighting both the strategic importance of the Aurora and the ever-constant struggle between the Empire and the rebel forces as they fought for the galaxy's future. During the battle at Foster Haven, Echo's squadron, who were engaged with the Imperial forces at the trading port, called for urgent reinforcements as they found themselves overwhelmed by the Imperial fleet, led by the Imperial II-class Star Destroyer Vigilance. In response to the distress call, Admiral Jial Akbar and the MC-80 Liberty-type Heavy Star Cruiser Aurora, along with several supporting ships, swiftly arrived on the scene to assist. The Imperial fleet, with its superior firepower and command structure, posed a significant challenge, but the Aurora and the rest of the rebel fleet engaged the enemy forces head-on, focusing their efforts on the Vigilance, which was the Imperial flagship. Despite the heavy fire exchange and the rebel forces suffering losses, including the destruction of a frigate, the tactical maneuvering and skillful coordination of the Alliance fleet allowed them to push back the Imperials. The Alliance forces managed to successfully complete their mission to rescue the trapped Alderaanian refugees, evacuating them from the Foster Haven system. The remaining ships of the rebel fleet managed to escape the battle, though at significant cost. Despite the Aurora and the rebel fleet's victory, the Vigilance remained a potent threat, a reminder of the ongoing conflict between the Rebel Alliance and the Empire. This battle further solidified the importance of rebel leadership and strategic acumen, with Admiral Akbar and his fleet showing resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. The Battle of Zorn took place in the Farah sector, where an Imperial naval task force, consisting of the Gladiator-class Star Destroyer Blood Ambition and the Raider-class corvettes Sargantuan and Warhawk, launched a military invasion against the Clan Assembly and a group of old Mandalorians. The Empire sought to suppress the Mandalorians' influence in the region and solidify its control over the sector. In response, the Rebel Alliance dispatched a naval squadron, known as the Allied Armada, to the planet Zorn. This squadron consisted of 2 MC-80 Liberty-class cruisers and 7 other warships. As the battle on the surface raged on, the Alliance fleet arrived and immediately engaged the Imperial task force, with the Allied Armada focusing on the Imperial warships to create an opening for the ground forces. The Allied Armada's arrival disrupted the Empire's advance, as it engaged the Blood Ambition and the accompanying corvettes, creating a diversion and pushing the Imperial fleet back. Despite the Alliance's arrival and the intense space battle that ensued, the situation on the surface remained precarious for the Clan Assembly and the Old Mandalorians. However, the Rebel fleet's presence helped tip the balance, preventing further Imperial progress and weakening the Empire's grip on Zorn. This battle highlighted the importance of Rebel naval forces in counteracting Imperial aggression, providing essential support to ground operations and ensuring the survival of Mandalorian factions resisting Imperial rule. The intervention of the MC-80 Liberty-class cruisers played a crucial role in the outcome of the battle, as they were capable of engaging the heavily armed Imperial warships while offering protection to the rest of the Allied Armada. In 1 ABY, the Rebel Alliance had gone through several key transformations following the mutiny on Mon Cala, during which Mon Calamari Star Cruisers from the Mon Calamari mercantile fleet had defected from Imperial control. These cruisers joined the rebel forces, significantly bolstering the Alliance's naval capabilities. After months of preparation, Makota Space Docks, a crucial rebel facility, became the site for the retrofit of the Mon Calamari cruisers. The cruisers were being upgraded with Shutarun systems to improve their combat performance. These upgrades were part of the Rebel Alliance's efforts to make their fleet more formidable against the superior Imperial Navy. Among the ships at Makota was the MC-80 Liberty cruiser itself, as well as a host of other MC-80 Liberty-class cruisers and ships from the Mon Calamari Star Cruiser line. At this stage, around 37 Mon Calamari Star Cruisers had been brought together, awaiting the retrofit completion. The Alliance leadership, including top commanders and ambassadors, gathered at Makota to attend a launching ceremony celebrating the progress made in rebuilding the fleet. This was a pivotal moment for the Rebel Alliance, symbolizing their growing strength and determination to fight the Empire. However, soon after the ceremony began, the Alliance encountered an unexpected and devastating setback. It was revealed that a significant portion of the fleet's critical systems had malfunctioned. The newly retrofitted ships, including the MC-80 Liberty cruisers, were inoperable, unable to perform basic combat functions like weapons and shields. This left the fleet vulnerable and unable to effectively defend itself. The timing could not have been worse. At that very moment, Darth Vader and his Imperial Death Squadron arrived in the system, having tracked the Rebel fleet to Makota. Death Squadron included the Executor-class Star Dreadnought Executor, one of the largest and most powerful ships in the Imperial fleet, along with 3 Imperial II-class Star Destroyers. This immense show of Imperial strength signaled the beginning of the Battle of Makota. The Empire immediately began bombarding the Rebel fleet. The MC-80 Liberty cruisers, including the Liberty itself, were still stationary and unable to escape or retaliate effectively. TIE fighters launched from the Imperial ships, and Rebel starfighters, including X-Wings and Y-Wings, scrambled to counter the Imperial assault. Despite their efforts, the Rebel starfighters were no match for the fighter wings of the Empire, which quickly overwhelmed them in the void of space. In the midst of the attack, the Rebel Alliance fleet suffered devastating losses. Yavin's Hope, one of the key cruisers, was destroyed in a direct strike from Vader's forces, a significant blow to the Alliance's morale. The loss of the Yavin's Hope sent a clear message. The Empire was not only more powerful, but also ruthless in its pursuit of the Rebel Alliance. The MC-80 Republic, a critical ship in the Alliance's fleet, was among the few vessels that managed to escape the bombardment. It had been given clearance codes, which allowed its systems to be restored to full operational status. With these codes, the Republic was able to engage its engines and begin its escape from the conflict. Several other MC-80 Liberty-class cruisers followed the Republic, jumping to hyperspace before the Imperial forces could finish them off. Though the MC-80 Liberty-class cruisers managed to escape, the Battle of Makota was a major defeat for the Rebel Alliance. The Imperial Death Squadron's overwhelming firepower had decimated the majority of the Rebel fleet, leaving the remaining cruisers and starfighters with little choice but to flee. The retrofitted cruisers, which had been meant to boost the Rebel Navy, were now sidelined due to their inoperable systems, a critical flaw in the Rebels' preparations that had been exploited by the Empire. This battle, although devastating, did not spell the end for the Rebel Alliance. Some ships, including several MC-80 Liberty-class cruisers, escaped with critical information and personnel, allowing the Alliance to regroup and continue the fight. The losses at Makota underscored the Alliance's need for further development and improvement in their naval technology and readiness. However, it also demonstrated the resilience of the Rebel forces, who continued to fight even in the face of overwhelming Imperial power. The Battle of Makota was just one chapter in the ongoing struggle of the Rebel Alliance against the Galactic Empire. But it was a stark reminder of the constant pressure the Rebels faced and the stakes of their struggle for survival. After the Battle of Hoth in 3 ABY, the Rebel Alliance Navy underwent significant challenges and restructuring. Following the devastating loss at Hoth, where the Alliance was forced to abandon its base, the fleet splintered into multiple naval divisions, each trying to regroup and continue the fight against the Galactic Empire. These divisions included the 2nd, 4th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 11th divisions. But the scattered remnants of the fleet faced constant danger from the Imperial Navy, which sought to crush the remaining pockets of rebel resistance. Among the surviving divisions, the 4th, 7th, and 11th divisions managed to regroup, uniting in a concerted effort to rescue the 2nd Division, which was under heavy assault from the Imperial Star Destroyer Tarkin's Will. The combined forces, now desperately trying to hold on to their existence, included a variety of warships, among them at least 2 MC-80 Liberty cruisers and 3 MC-80A Home 1 cruisers. These cruisers, part of the Rebel Navy's backbone, were integral to the fleet's operations. One notable moment involved an MC-80 Liberty cruiser that flew in the atmosphere of a terrestrial world, accompanied by 2 BTL Y-Wing starfighters. This maneuver highlighted the versatility and daring of the Rebel fleet, with starships engaging in atmospheric operations alongside tactical support craft. While such operations were often risky and required immense coordination, they served as a reminder of the rebels' commitment to striking at the Empire on all fronts. However, the Alliance fleet also faced internal issues. One MC-80 Liberty cruiser was plagued by a series of system malfunctions that caused chaos on board, including starfighters colliding on the flight deck. The disarray led to several crew members being hospitalized due to injuries, and it was soon uncovered that sabotage was at play. Someone within the crew had intentionally sabotaged the cruiser, further complicating the already difficult circumstances the fleet was enduring. This internal threat was a reminder of the tensions and mistrust within the rebel forces, as the pressure of war and desperation led to acts of sabotage among those who had become disillusioned with the Alliance's chances of survival. In another incident, an MC-80 Liberty cruiser attempted a strike against an Imperial weapons laboratory, which required navigating through a sector of space filled with dangerous hazards, such as asteroid fields and interdictor mines. This highlighted the perilous nature of the rebels' guerrilla tactics. They were not only outgunned by the Imperial Navy, but also forced to deal with the hazards of space, mechanical malfunctions, and the constant threat of Imperial retaliation. Despite these setbacks, the rebel fleet pressed forward, using unconventional tactics and perseverance to strike at Imperial targets whenever and wherever possible. These actions, though costly, were part of the larger strategy to weaken the Empire's grip on the galaxy, while keeping the flame of resistance alive in the face of overwhelming odds. The MC-80 Liberty cruisers, though aging and frequently under repair, continued to serve as essential symbols of the rebel struggle, fighting against both the Empire's might and internal challenges that threatened to tear the Alliance apart. In 4 ABY, following the discovery of the DS-2 Death Star II mobile battle station at Endor and the information gathered by the Bothan spynet that revealed Emperor Palpatine's presence aboard the station, the Rebel Alliance quickly mobilized the majority of its fleet. The assembly took place near Sullust, as the rebels prepared for a decisive strike to destroy the new Death Star and remove the Emperor's grip on the galaxy. However, just before the final preparations for the operation, the MC-80 Liberty cruiser Invincible Faith uncovered a coded message from Moff Derek Wraith, which revealed a deadly trap for the Alliance. The message suggested that the information they had received about Endor and the Death Star II was intentionally planted to lure the rebels into a confrontation where they would be overwhelmed by the Empire's forces. Realizing the danger, the Imperial Special Forces, specifically Inferno Squad, were sent on a mission to infiltrate the Invincible Faith and delete the critical message to prevent the rebel forces from learning the truth. The leader of Inferno Squad, Commander Iden Versio, was tasked with this covert operation. Rather than using force, Versio allowed herself to be captured by the rebels and brought aboard the Invincible Faith, hoping to blend in and disable the message from within. Meanwhile, her loyal ID-10 Seeker droid, a highly capable machine, infiltrated the cruiser through other means to assist her from the inside. This covert infiltration showcased the Empire's growing use of espionage and special forces tactics, utilizing high-level agents like Versio to counter the rebels' military operations. The Invincible Faith, a crucial piece of the rebel fleet, was now at risk of being compromised by Imperial intelligence, and the danger of the trap was very real. The rebels, however, remained unaware of the infiltration, and the mission to Endor was still in motion, culminating in the Battle of Endor. The outcome of the battle would depend on whether the rebellion could successfully execute its plan despite the Imperial countermeasures and potential betrayals within their own ranks. After the ID-10 Seeker droid successfully evaded detection and reached Commander Iden Versio, the Special Forces commander was freed from the brig aboard the MC-80 Liberty cruiser Invincible Faith. Realizing the urgency of the mission, Versio swiftly made her way to the communications center of the cruiser, evading Alliance personnel along the way. There, she deleted the critical message that had been intercepted, causing the ship's alarm systems to blare as a result of the tampered data. As the Invincible Faith began sounding its alarms and signaling the breach, Admiral Jial Akbar ordered the cruiser to join the assault on the second Death Star. However, with her cover blown, Versio fought through Alliance forces, using her skills as a Special Forces operative to hold them off and make her escape. In a final dramatic move, Versio fled the cruiser, heading for an airlock. She activated it, launching herself into the vacuum of space just as the Invincible Faith began to fire its heavy ion cannons, directed at the incoming rebel fleet. The gamble paid off when Versio's starship, the Raider II-class corvette Corvus, arrived from hyperspace just in time to intercept and pick up the fleeing commander. The mission to sabotage the rebel fleet had been a success from the Empire's perspective, and the Special Forces commander managed to narrowly escape death once again. This daring escape highlighted the tactics and resilience of the Inferno Squad, with Versio and her droid's calculated move preventing the rebels from realizing the trap in time. Meanwhile, the Invincible Faith, now compromised, began its assault on the rebel fleet as Akbar's forces prepared for the assault on the Death Star II, unaware of the hidden dangers still looming within their ranks. As the Alliance fleet gathered at Sullust and preparations for the assault on the second Death Star were underway, ground strike teams infiltrated Endor to destroy the Death Star's shield generator. To avoid Imperial detection, the fleet used the Sanctuary Pipeline hyperspace route, ensuring their travel remained covert. The fleet arriving at Endor consisted of a diverse group of ships, including several Mon Calamari Star Cruisers. Among them were at least 5 MC-80 Liberty-type heavy Star Cruisers, which played a critical role in establishing a defensive perimeter around the Death Star II. During the Battle of Endor, the Mon Calamari cruisers provided crucial support as Alliance starfighters, including X-Wings and Y-Wings, infiltrated the unfinished hull of the Death Star II with the mission to destroy its main reactor. The MC-80 Liberty cruisers were positioned strategically around the station to form a protective barrier against the impending Imperial counterattack. As the battle unfolded, the Alliance fleet quickly realized that the Death Star's deflector shield remained operational, blocking their attempts to attack the station directly. The rebel forces were forced to alter their strategy, and General Lando Calrissian and Admiral Akbar ordered their fleet to break off from their approach to the station. This move was critical in preventing further damage to the fleet and ensuring that the rebel starfighters could still carry out their mission without interference from the shield. This moment marked a turning point in the battle, as the rebel forces adjusted their tactics, making room for the ground team on Endor to disable the shield generator and eventually make way for the destruction of the Death Star II. The battle was intense, with the MC-80 Liberty cruisers holding the line and continuing to protect the fleet's critical assets as the Empire responded with all its remaining strength. Ultimately, the Death Star II was destroyed, and the Alliance secured victory, thanks in part to the bravery and skill of the fleet's cruisers and starfighters. As the Imperial fleet revealed itself and launched a full assault on the Alliance forces during the Battle of Endor, the situation quickly escalated into a chaotic battle. MC-80 Liberty cruisers immediately took evasive action to avoid the overwhelming firepower of the Imperial fleet. But the fighting intensified as starfighter duels broke out throughout the Alliance fleet. Among the many confrontations, a tie-in interceptor collided with the ventral hangar of one of the MC-80 Liberty cruisers, exploding on impact and further adding to the chaos of the engagement. The battle took a devastating turn when the second Death Star, revealing that it was fully operational, fired its main super laser at one of the MC-80 Liberty cruisers, the Liberty. The destructive power of the super laser was overwhelming, completely obliterating the ship and causing a massive fireball that engulfed several other rebel vessels in the process. This marked a severe blow to the Alliance, as one of their key ships was destroyed in the early stages of the confrontation. Not long after, the MC-80A Home 1 cruiser Nautilian suffered the same fate as the Liberty, succumbing to the wrath of the Death Star's super laser. With both ships lost, the Alliance's chances of victory were in jeopardy, but General Lando Calrissian continued to press for action. Despite Admiral Akbar's concerns that the rebel fleet would not last much longer under the concentrated fire of the Imperial Star Destroyers, Calrissian insisted that the fleet should press the attack and engage the Star Destroyers at point-blank range. Calrissian believed that while the fleet might not survive the engagement, they had a better chance of dealing significant damage to the Imperial ships in close-quarters combat. The decision was a risky one, but it represented the rebel forces' final effort to destroy the Empire's remaining warships before the Death Star II could unleash further devastation. The stakes were higher than ever, and the outcome of this desperate maneuver would ultimately determine the fate of the battle and the galaxy itself. As the Alliance fleet pressed its attack on the Imperial warships at close range, the battle intensified. Starfighters and bombers swarmed around the capital ships, engaged in brutal dogfights as the two fleets clashed in the vacuum of space. The MC-80 Liberty cruisers fought fiercely in broadsides with the Imperial Star Destroyers, their heavy firepower aimed at the heart of the Empire's fleet. As the battle raged on, the ground strike team successfully disabled the Death Star II's deflector shield, allowing the Alliance starfighters to penetrate the superstructure of the massive space station. With the shields down, the fighters and other ships focused their firepower on the Executor, the Imperial flagship, which had been a key part of the Imperial fleet. In a decisive turn of events, an RZ-1 A-Wing interceptor crashed into the Executor's bridge, destroying it, and sending the massive ship careening toward the Death Star II. The Executor collided with the battle station, adding to the chaos as other Imperial warships were destroyed in the wake of the attack. As the Death Star II's reactor was finally destroyed by the concentrated efforts of the Alliance fleet, the battle station's destruction became imminent. The Alliance fleet, having dealt a decisive blow to the Empire, withdrew from the vicinity of the Death Star II as the station began to disintegrate. Moments later, the Death Star II exploded in a massive fireball, taking with it the Empire's greatest weapon and leaving the Rebel Alliance victorious in the Battle of Endor. The destruction of the Death Star II marked a turning point in the Galactic Civil War, signaling the end of Emperor Palpatine's reign and the near collapse of the Galactic Empire. The Alliance, though battered and scarred from the fierce conflict, emerged victorious, paving the way for the formation of the New Republic and the restoration of freedom to the galaxy. Following the destruction of the second Death Star, an MC-80 Liberty cruiser descended into the atmosphere of the Endor moon and maneuvered through it as Alliance dropships arrived with reinforcements to continue the battle on the surface. The Rebel Alliance was still engaging Imperial forces on the ground, with fierce fighting around the remains of the shield generator. Meanwhile, Inferno Squad, who had been stationed near the destroyed shield generator, managed to evade capture by Alliance forces. They successfully escaped from the surface of Endor and made their way into Endor's orbit. As they did, two additional MC-80 Liberty cruisers were seen navigating through the wreckage of the Death Star II, making their way towards a third MC-80 Liberty cruiser that was engaged in combat with the Imperial Star Destroyer Eviscerator. Once Inferno Squad had repelled the remaining rebel forces and successfully escaped the surface of Endor, Commander Eden Versio rendezvoused with the Eviscerator, escaping the chaotic battle as the Imperial forces regrouped. The Eviscerator then made its retreat, narrowly avoiding the destruction wrought by the Alliance fleet's victory in the battle. This marked another chapter in the aftermath of the Battle of Endor, as Imperial remnants sought to regroup and escape the crushing defeat they had suffered. After the Battle of Endor, an MC-80 Liberty cruiser led a small fleet consisting of at least 4 CR-90 corvettes and a number of starfighters in an attack on Fondor, targeting the Fondor shipyards and the Imperial Star Destroyer Dauntless that was docked at the facility. The MC-80 Liberty cruiser deployed 3 UT-60 DU-wing starfighter support craft and opened fire with its heavy broadside ion cannons on the Dauntless, attempting to cripple the Imperial vessel. However, the Alliance's assault was hindered when Inferno Squad, led by Iden Versio, intervened. The U-wings were destroyed, and the rebel transports were neutralized by Inferno Squad. Following Moff Derek Wraith's orders, Iden Versio infiltrated the MC-80 Liberty cruiser, sabotaging the ship from within. She managed to disable its weaponry, causing a CR-90 corvette to crash into the Liberty and create further chaos within the rebel fleet. The Dauntless, now freed from the shipyards, unleashed its firepower on the MC-80 Liberty cruiser, resulting in a series of explosions. The Imperial forces successfully repelled the Alliance assault, claiming a victory in the engagement. After the raid at the Wretch of Terran, the Alliance learned about Operation Cinder, an initiative central to Emperor Palpatine's contingency, which involved the destruction of several Imperial worlds. Determined to save as many as possible, the Alliance made it a priority to intervene. During a skirmish on Vardos, Iden Versio and Del Mico, 2 former Imperial agents, surrendered to the Alliance and were brought aboard the MC-80 Liberty cruiser Restoration. After an interrogation, General Lando Calrissian convinced them to join the Alliance's effort to stop Operation Cinder. The next target was Naboo, where the Alliance launched an operation to reinforce the Royal Naboo security forces, who were attacking climate disruption arrays and the Imperial Star Destroyer Torment. In the Naboo system, the Restoration, along with Danger Squadron and the Mel Crawler 2, supported the assault. While the Restoration fired on the Torment from a distance, Alliance starfighters destroyed the climate disruption satellites and engaged Imperial fighters. Y-wing bombers successfully took out the Torment's shield generators, and the Restoration unleashed a series of barrages, eventually destroying the Star Destroyer. However, before it was destroyed, the Torment launched a final wave of Imperial craft toward the capital city of Theed. Despite this, Naboo and the Alliance forces prevailed, emerging victorious in the Battle of Theed and preventing further destruction by Operation Cinder. After the formation of the New Republic following the defeat of the Galactic Empire, the MC-80 Liberty-type heavy star cruisers continued to serve as vital assets in the New Republic Defense Force. Despite their age, the MC-80 cruisers proved invaluable in the new government's military operations, particularly in the effort to secure the galaxy from remaining Imperial forces. One notable engagement during this time was the Battle of Varsha, where an MC-80 Liberty cruiser played a crucial role in a combined assault against the Empire. The New Republic sent a fleet that included MC-75 Star Cruisers, MC-95E Star Cruisers, and several support ships such as frigates and corvettes to the Varsha system. The fleet's mission was to neutralize a key Imperial dockyard that was manufacturing Imperial warships, which would have posed a significant threat to the New Republic. The MC-80 Liberty cruiser, along with its sister ships, engaged the Imperial forces protecting the dockyard, which included a Star Destroyer. The battle was intense, but the New Republic's fleet was able to destroy the Varsha dockyard, a significant blow to the Empire's war production capabilities. During the conflict, the MC-80 Liberty cruiser and its allies successfully eliminated an Imperial Star Destroyer, forcing the ISD Overseer and the remaining Imperial fighters to retreat. After the retreat of the Imperial forces, the New Republic's fleet advanced through the wreckage of the Imperial dockyard, ensuring that no Imperial remnants remained to regroup. The MC-80 Liberty cruiser played a key role in this victory, demonstrating its continued relevance in the New Republic's fight to restore peace and order to the galaxy. This victory was a significant step in ensuring the Empire's hold on the galaxy was further weakened, with the MC-80 Liberty cruisers continuing to be an essential part of the New Republic's military strategy in the years following the fall of the Empire. As the Empire splintered into various factions following its collapse, including the Imperial Royalist Coalition, the Yomo Council, and the Chadawan government, one man emerged as the de facto leader of the Imperial remnants, Councillor Gallius Rax. Rax, a key figure in the fragmented Empire, gathered the remaining Imperial forces and brought them to the planet Jakku in a desperate bid for the Empire's survival, marking it as the site of the Empire's final stand against the New Republic. In response to the threat, the New Republic Senate voted to intervene, sending the New Republic Defense Force to Jakku to eliminate the Imperial forces once and for all. The New Republic's fleet, which included a significant number of MC-80 Liberty cruisers, exited hyperspace and entered the orbit of Jakku, where they immediately began engaging the remnants of the Imperial fleet, initiating the Battle of Jakku. During the battle, the MC-80 Liberty cruisers, which had served the Rebel Alliance and later the New Republic, once again proved their worth in the face of Imperial resistance. These ships, alongside other New Republic warships, fought fiercely against the Imperial forces, which were led by Gallius Rax and bolstered by the remnants of the Empire's former might. The MC-80 Liberty cruisers participated in numerous skirmishes and crucial strikes against Imperial Star Destroyers and other key Imperial ships in the Jakku system. Their agility and firepower allowed them to go toe-to-toe with larger, more heavily armed Imperial vessels, while their veteran crews fought with the determination born from years of conflict. The battle was intense, with casualties on both sides, but the overwhelming force of the New Republic, bolstered by the presence of the MC-80 cruisers, ultimately secured a decisive victory. The Battle of Jakku marked the final defeat of the Empire, cementing the New Republic's hold over the galaxy and signaling the end of Imperial power. For the MC-80 Liberty cruisers, this battle was one of the last chapters in their storied history, as these iconic ships helped bring the Empire's reign to a bitter end. During the Battle of Jakku, the MC-80 Liberty cruisers played a pivotal role in the New Republic's assault on the Imperial remnants. While these cruisers, along with other New Republic warships, engaged the Executor-class Star Dreadnought Ravager and its supporting fleet of Imperial Star Destroyers in orbit, the battle unfolded across multiple fronts. In space, the MC-80 Liberty cruisers were at the forefront, participating in broadsides against the heavily fortified Imperial Star Destroyers. These battles were intense, with the Liberty-class cruisers using their maneuverability and firepower to exploit weaknesses in the Imperial ships, leading to the destruction of several key enemy vessels. As they fought in space, the New Republic fleet engaged in a relentless assault, trying to wear down the Imperial fleet and neutralize the threat posed by the Ravager and other Imperial forces. Meanwhile, the New Republic's forces did not limit themselves to space combat. A portion of the fleet broke through the Imperial defenses, descending toward Jakku's atmosphere. As the MC-80 Liberty cruisers continued their orbital battle, New Republic starfighters and bombers clashed with Imperial TIE fighters, while ground forces began landing operations. The New Republic was not only fighting in the skies but also launching rescue efforts for downed ships and fighting to secure critical Imperial sites on the planet below. The combination of space-based combat and ground operations was crucial to the success of the New Republic's mission, with MC-80 Liberty cruisers at the heart of both the orbital assault and support for ground forces. As the MC-80s engaged the Imperial fleet and helped clear the way for New Republic landings, they demonstrated their versatility in battle, able to engage large capital ships in space while providing necessary support for the New Republic's offensive on the planet's surface. This two-pronged assault proved effective, eventually leading to the Ravager's destruction, the collapse of the Imperial defenses, and the final victory of the New Republic. The MC-80 Liberty cruisers, having fought through countless battles, once again proved themselves as vital assets to the New Republic's cause, ensuring the downfall of the Empire and securing peace for the galaxy. During the Battle of Jakku, the intense fighting resulted in significant losses on both sides, with many MC-80 Liberty cruisers and Imperial Star Destroyers being destroyed. As the battle raged on, entire sections of the hulls of these massive ships were torn apart, with debris crashing down onto the desert planet's surface below. This cataclysmic destruction not only affected the course of the battle, but also marked the end of an era for these iconic vessels. One such MC-80 Liberty cruiser, Freedom's Dawn, was one of the ships that met a tragic end. After sustaining severe damage in the battle, it crashed intact onto the surface of Jakku. Its remains a testament to the cruiser's resilience and the brutal nature of the battle. The wreckage of the Freedom's Dawn and others like it would serve as grim reminders of the heavy toll taken during the last stand of the Empire and the New Republic's ultimate victory. As the Ravager, the Imperial flagship, was finally destroyed, it plummeted from Jakku's orbit and began its descent toward the surface. As it fell, more MC-80 Liberty cruisers continued to engage Imperial forces, fighting against overwhelming odds. Their firepower and determination kept the Imperial fleet occupied, ensuring that they could not focus solely on the New Republic's ground operations. The death of the Ravager, combined with the strategic actions of the New Republic fleet, ultimately secured the victory. But the cost was immense, both in terms of lives and ships, with the debris of MC-80s and Imperial Star Destroyers littering the desert sands of Jakku. These wrecks would become part of the galaxy's history, marking the final collapse of the Empire and the dawn of the New Republic's enduring peace. The MC-80 Liberty cruisers' valiant efforts on the battlefield played a crucial role in securing the New Republic's triumph at Jakku, ensuring their place as heroes in the war against the Empire. During the Battle of Jakku, the fierce combat continued to see damaged MC-80 Liberty cruisers fighting alongside the New Republic's forces, even as many of these vessels sustained heavy damage. Several MC-80 Liberty cruisers were targeted by TIE/SA bombers, and despite their valiant efforts, some were ultimately destroyed in the onslaught. However, their participation in the battle remained crucial, with these ships continuing to engage Imperial Star Destroyers and bombers, even as their hulls took a beating. The MC-80s, despite the odds, represented the New Republic's resolve and the willingness to fight until the very end. One notable moment in the battle came when the Star Destroyer Eviscerator engaged in broadsides with one of the remaining MC-80 Liberty cruisers. In the heat of the battle, New Republic Commander Iden Versio, a former Imperial officer who had defected to the Republic, played a key role in the destruction of the Eviscerator's starfighters and bombers. Her expertise and leadership in combating the Imperial forces provided a vital boost to the New Republic's defense. Although the New Republic suffered heavy losses throughout the battle, including the destruction of many of its cruisers and fighters, the final outcome was clear. The Imperial forces, led by the remnants of the Galactic Empire, were ultimately defeated. The battle marked the Empire's final stand, bringing an end to their dominance and signaling the New Republic's victory. In the aftermath of the battle, the Galactic Concordance was signed, a peace treaty negotiated by Grand Vizier Masameda on behalf of the Empire, and by New Republic officials, marking the formal end of the Galactic Civil War. The Concordance was an important step in the New Republic's establishment and ensured the Empire's dissolution, with the remnants of the former regime retreating into the unknown regions to rebuild. The Battle of Jakku thus became one of the defining moments in galactic history, cementing the New Republic's triumph and solidifying the MC-80 Liberty cruisers as symbols of the rebel alliances and the New Republic's resilience throughout the conflict.